Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, Double Line Apostles GMS. This is Amnawa Allah coming at you with a video. In this video, I want to be focusing on ruling your spirit, having control of your spirit. So let's get right to it. This is the book of Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. There you go. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. See, because a person that's slow to anger is a person that's rule over their own spirit, is a person that has self-control. See, a person that's mighty can have power over others, but a person that is slow to anger or has self-control can have power over their own selves. It's easy for one to have the mastery over another. It's a lot harder for someone to have the mastery over themselves. So it's Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. And he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. So he that can rule his spirit is better than he that taketh the city. Once again, it's easier for someone to have mastery over another than it is for someone to have mastery over their own selves. So he that ruleth his spirit is better than him that taketh the city. So just as he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. There you go. What does it mean when it say ruleth his spirit? What does that mean, ruleth? Mashal. To rule, have dominion, reign. To rule, have dominion. To cause to rule, to exercise dominion. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. So if you don't have rule over your spirit, you're like a city that is broken down and without walls. In other words, if a person doesn't have rulership over their spirit, they're left easily to be taken over. They're easy to be conquered. Because why? A city that is broken down, that doesn't have any walls, cannot keep out invaders. They can't keep out intruders. They can't keep out enemies. So a person that doesn't have rule over their spirit, they're like a city that's broken down without walls. In other words, a person that does not have rulership over their spirit is a person that can let the enemy creep in, which is Satan. Okay? A person that doesn't have rulership over their spirit, that is a weakness. Just as a city that's broken down without walls, a city that doesn't have walls, that's a weak city. It's not built up strong, powerful walls to keep enemies out. The city's in a weakened state. So that's like a person that doesn't have rule over their own spirit. If you're a person that don't know how to hold the spirit, a person let their emotions get the best of them, it can lead you into dangerous situations. All right? Okay? You allowing your enemy to have a free access to you. Think about it. A broken city that doesn't have any walls, the enemies creep in, they invade, they steal riches, they steal people. If you don't have rulership over your spirit, the enemy, which is Satan, can creep in and steal whatever treasure it is that's within you. So guess what? You always got to have rulership over your spirit. You got to pray for that. Pray for self-control. And that's an important thing in the truth. It don't matter how many scriptures you can break down. It don't matter how long you've been in the truth. It don't matter how much history you can break down, how many shows you do. You got to have rulership over your spirit. One of the most important things in this truth, one of the main things in this truth that shows that you're a man of the Lord is conduct, spiritual conduct. Because you can have a guy over here that don't know any scriptures, that don't know any breakdown, that don't know any history. But guess what? He conducts himself like a man of the Lord. He walks in the fruits of the Spirit. You not, but you know 1,000 scriptures. Scriptures speak about that in the book of the Apocrypha. All right. Let me get that real quick. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 19:24. He that has small understanding and feareth the Most High is better than one that hath much wisdom and transgresseth the law of the Most High. I just wanted to get that real quick. This is the book of Mark chapter 14, verse 32. This is when Yahushua went to the Garden of Gethsemane. Mark chapter 14, verse 32, which Gethsemane means oil press. And Yahushua was that oil that was being pressed. And we're going to read about it. Mark 14:32, and they came to a place which was named Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, Sit ye here while I pray. And he taketh with him Peter and James and John, and began to be sore amazed, and to be very heavy, and saith unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful unto death. Tarry ye here and watch. Wait here and watch for me. And he went forward a little, and fell on the ground, and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. Okay. And he cometh and findeth them sleeping, and saith unto Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? And saith unto Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? In other words, you sleep? Couldst thou not watch for 1 hour? You couldn't watch for an hour? Watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. In other words, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. They wanted to stay up and watch with the Lord, but their flesh was weak, so they wanted to fall asleep. And that was something that written for our learning, so that we could know that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So we know that they're spiritual men, they're righteous, they have faith, they believe in Yahushua, but though they were in the spirit, their flesh was weak. And again he went away and prayed and spake the same words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. Never wist they what to answer him. And he cometh the third time, and said unto them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. It is enough, the hour is come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up, let us go. Lo, he that betrayeth me is at hand. So Yahushua went to the Garden of Gethsemane, and he prayed to the Most High. His cup from him. But guess what? Yahushua prayed 3 times. The Most High didn't. It's not written, but the Most High telling him anything. So guess what? We know that Yahushua had to do what? He had to go and be delivered up on that cross. He was able to rule over his spirit. Even though Yahushua didn't want to do it, Yahushua, he still had to rule over his spirit. Because Yahushua had Yahushua not had rulership over his spirit, then guess what? Satan could have crept in and would have prevented him from happening. But would have prevented him going, the act of him going on the cross and being crucified for our sins from happening, and we be in a worse predicament. But guess what? Yahushua had rulership over his spirit. That's important, man. That guy's got to read these scriptures. That got to apply these scriptures. You know? And it goes for me too. This is the book of James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. That's another example of having control over your spirit, holding your spirit. You got to be swift to hear. You got to be quick to listen. And you got to be slow to speak and slow to wrath. That's ruling your spirit. You can't be a person that's that's slow to hear and quick to speak. If you're slow to hear and quick to speak, then you're not getting any understanding. You get more understanding from listening. That's how you gain knowledge. That's how you gather knowledge, wisdom, and understanding by listening through your ears, not through your mouth. And you got to be slow to wrath. You know, you can't be a person that's a striker, like the scriptures speak of. You can't be a striker. You can't be a person that's quick to anger. You can't be a person that's quick to violence. All right? A person that's quick to lash out. You had guys that was in this camp like that, and they ain't around no more. All right? Now, this is from OxfordReference.com. It says Xenocetium, circa Xenocetium, circa 335 to circa 263 BC. Greek philosopher, founder of Stoicism. The reason why we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth is that we may listen the more and talk the less. To a youth who is talking nonsense. They said that to a youth that was talking nonsense. And it's written by Diogenes Laertius in his writing called Lives of the Philosophers. Zeno chapter 7, which Lives of the Philosophers is basically about a book about eminent philosophers, a biography of Greek philosophers. Okay? And that's supposed to be him right there. Kind of got a beard like Elder Gabal a little bit, Apostle Gabal, you know. Okay, it's supposed to be him right there. This is the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 22. I'm just gonna read this one scripture real quick. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. I'm going to keep going. Meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. So these are the fruits of the Spirit. Why is it called, these are the fruit of the Spirit? Why is it called the fruit of the Spirit? Fruit is produce, or fruit is what's produced. The fruits of the Spirit is what it is that we produce due to the Spirit of Yahweh Shai living within us. The way a farmer produces fruit when they plant seeds into the ground and it gets watered and the sunlight hits these plants and it begins to grow and produces these various fruits. Well, guess what? The fruit of the Spirit is what it is that we produce due to the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai dwelling within us. I'm going to say that again. The fruits of the Spirit is what it is that we produce. Or rather, the fruits of the Spirit is what it is that's produced based upon the Spirit or due to the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai living within us. So the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai is within us, which then causes these things to be produced. And these show forth through an act of maturing in His Word. Because fruits eventually have to mature. In other words, become ripe, don't they? So this says fruits got to become ripe. You got to become ripe. In other words, you got to become mature. So these are all aspects of maturing in the Spirit. And it says long-suffering. Part of long-suffering is patience. And with patience, you got to have what? Self-control. Okay? And all these other things. So I'm using this as an example, So take heed to these things. I just want to do a quick lesson on this. And this applies to y'all brothers. And guess what? It applies to me too, even more, because I'm the one doing the lesson. So with that, I'm going to say, oh, praise Yahweh, Shemi Shai, Double Line, Apostle GMS. I hope you brothers learn something. Shalom.